You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, it's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate it. As always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you but doesn't judge you. And, it's a big tent family. As long as you're not evil, you're a good person. We love you and support you. So you always have love here. It's Valentine's Day, actually, in 2025. So there's kind of a love theme going on. What's that about? I don't know. But all I know is the merchandise of the Chris Voss Show does not include anything that you might use on Valentine's Day to impress your guests. We don't even sell roses. So that's the kind of way we're running the show. So if you're looking for Valentine's Day merch on the Chris Voss Show, it's not there. I don't know why it sounded funny. We're not selling edible underwear in the Chris Voss Show. That's not happening. Anyway, guys, but, stay tuned. There's time to change. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking to him about his books, his poems, his authorship, et cetera, et cetera. One of his latest books was called Entering a New Era of Do, under the pen name D.E. Walsh. And we're going to get into some of his insights on what he does. Dale Walsh joins us on the show today. He has been dealing with a diagnosis of serious mental illness for 50 years, since being removed from Dartmouth College and hospitalized for delusions in 1975. He's been challenging and often difficult road back to his sanity from the pits of psychosis, for which he was hospitalized 15 times before 2006. He now considers himself fully medicationally recovered, and uses his experience with both his condition itself and the knowledge of the mental health system to mentor the family caregivers of those with the diagnosis of schizophrenia. He's lived in Hackensack, New Jersey, with his own unsupervised bachelor pad since returning to Fairleigh Dickinson University in 1981, which he graduated magna cum laude 5 years later. He is a prolific poet with an archive of 5,000-plus verse works and 5 poetry collections on Amazon under the author name D.E. Walsh. And he's also a dedicated New York Yankee fan. Welcome to the show, Dale. How are you?
Thank you very much, Chris. Great to see you. I'm doing great. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you, too. I know, two dudes wishing each other Happy Valentine's Day. It's kind of weird, isn't it? No, I'm just teasing. I'm just
a little bit, but
just
it's a national holiday. So.
I'm not sending you chocolate, Dale. But
okay, I appreciate that.
So, Dale, give us the .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Okay, well, my mentoring .com is www.dewlivelove.net. DoLiveLove.net.
There you go.
That's for my schizophrenic mentoring program.
There you go. So I think you were going to lead us off with a poem. You kind of tell us a little bit about your journey and what you do there in the poem form.
Absolutely. So this is what I call my introductory poem. It's actually in my second collection, which is called Fossil Fuel for the Brain. It's also available on Amazon. And it goes, Dale reviewing what actually happened. And it goes like this. Hi, I'm God was a joke I made after killer Dartmouth toke of some primo Ivy League smoke, which apparently caused me to choke because in mental hospital I woke with Roomy Gabriel, the main bloke who did my delusions angelically stroke, while doctor claimed my brain broke the moment divine gag I spoke, testifying I was only bit quack, which clinicians diagnosed as psychotic attack, preventing me from getting sanity back until I came to Teaneck Hackensack to pursue resident therapy program track and deal with my evident lack of reason among psychiatric patient pack who never gave me any slack. Under interrogation, the story didn't crack.
Oh.
So that's it in a nutshell. Chris, I was at Dartmouth College. I had a very good freshman year, but I was drug-addled. I was doing massive amounts of marijuana and other things like LSD and stuff.
Oh,
so in the
LSD.
summer, I came up with what I thought was the greatest joke I'd ever come up with, which was, "Hi, I'm God." So one thing led to another, and 5 days later, after being interrogated by a set of three Ivy League college psychiatrists, I was in a hospital with a roommate named Gabriel, who was very deferential towards my mother, Mary Alma, whose second husband's name was Joseph, and who ultimately married the judge.
There you go. There you go. So was there was a reason you were taking so much drugs? Were you maybe coping with trauma or something that was going on personally for you?
It wasn't trauma. Well, if it was trauma, it was very deeply buried. I just loved drugs. I mean, to be honest, I loved all drugs, and my mother had a history of mental illness, so basically it threw me over the edge into psychosis and a delusion, and that's why I got taken away.
There you go. So that's when you first had your diagnosis of schizophrenia. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was hospitalized for 13 weeks in New York City, and then I came to a program in Teaneck, Hackensack, and I was in there. It was a private residential program under the direction of one doctor, and I was in that program getting intensive therapy for 5.5 years, three sessions a week, two group sessions a week, and then I got my own apartment, went back to Fairleigh Dickinson University, and graduated 5 years later, magna cum laude in English.
Well, congratulations. There you go. So now you do some different things where you do coaching and consulting. Tell us about some of the work you do there.
I am trying to become a professional podcast guest, and but also so my main focus is I've done a lot of entrepreneurial things in my life. After I graduated from Fairleigh, I spent the next 5 years helping Fairleigh students write papers and in all subjects except the hard sciences to supplement my disability income. And then I just basically got out of a situation where I was a financial advisor for World Financial Group for 3 years and financial educator. But now my focus is developing my skills to mentor the family caregivers of those with schizophrenia, because one thing I realized a couple of things, Chris, but one was that I realized how I put my own family through because of my illness. And secondly, I realized that, the ability of family members and caregivers to deal with their challenges is extreme sometimes. And they don't have a team like their loved ones who are diagnosed, and sometimes they need as much help, if not more, than the people who are actually suffering from the illness.
There you go. There's a thing about being a caregiver that is also takes a toll. If you're caring for someone who is has health issues or mental issues, there's a bit of a challenge there in being able to understand stuff. And it's probably good that you're on the other side to kind of advocate for the patient maybe a little bit in helping the caregiver understand what the patient is going through. Does that sound about right?
That's basically why I launched this, is because I feel that with my experience of 50 years dealing with schizophrenia, I basically know the condition inside and out. And I think one of the great obstacles the caregivers have is they just have no information about what schizophrenia is. And, even if they have a therapist or a doctor, the doctor talks about delusions or hallucinations, and the professionals talk about symptomology and everything. But I myself had defined, I think I came up with a definition which I think is pretty accurate, which is schizophrenia means you're living in a reality that was not conceived on Earth.
Ah, so I don't know. I know some voters that are doing that right now.
Well, that's
some
that's what
politicians.
a lot of people say. But just in my own case, that was the problem. I never, people think that people with schizophrenia are always hallucinated. I've never hallucinated in my life, Chris, but my delusion about being God was like my big problem. But people talk about delusion, and Trump voters or Democrats are delusional and everything. But but the idea that a delusion is a singular thought isn't accurate. A true delusion is a structure of belief that is at the very foundation of the personality, and therefore a delusion is much more difficult to get rid of because it's at the very foundation of your identity and your personality, rather than just like a series of like bad thoughts or something.
Oh, it sounds like the dating group I run. I run one of a few thousand people. It's kind of interesting. Writing a book on it right now. So do you see visions of other people that come talk to you? Do you not have any of that, or is it just visions of grandeur?
As I say, I feel I'm very very grounded in reality at this point.
There you go. And so you're able to advocate for both the caregivers and the patient of a family. And I imagine it can be hard because, there's a lot of things that I've gotten involved with people over the years. I remember one time I got a girlfriend who had weekend alcoholism, and it wasn't like alcoholism, like, full blow all the time. She was getting drunk and passing out, but it was on the weekends when she would do it. It was, I'd be like, why am I dealing with Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde here? Why are there two different people before me? And so, trying to navigate these things, if you're not suffering from them, and you're not like part of the thing, it's hard to understand what's going on with a loved one. And, you want to take care of them, you want to help them, but you don't fully understand what's going on. It's like you didn't go to school for this stuff. So you do coaching on the website so that you can help people. You teach them, you walk them through the different issues. I know you have a PDF on your website people can get for free, a download of an overview of schizophrenia. And so people can get some details from you for free there.
Sure. I'm not sure if that's actually working, Chris, but
okay.
The thing is the reason it's do live love. Live love is a basic therapeutic method that basically the Lord downloaded to me, and it's an 8-step program that I take my clients through, and it stands for learn, integrate, validate, explore, and then listen, observe, value, and express. So these are all like skills that are essential for my clients to develop in order to not only better communicate for themselves, but what I'm most interested in is helping them break the cycle of codependency of caregiving so that they can reclaim their own integrity of self and ultimately be much more in a much better position to help their loved ones.
There you go. It's good to have that, so you can have the thing. I see people can also sign up for a 20-minute discovery call on your website. They can find out how to talk to you directly and maybe see if they're a good fit for the coaching and the services you offer. Actually,
it's a 45-minute talk that they can have, and it's at it's a www.calendly.com/DaleCoach55. So if you go to Calendly, you can just make an appointment, and I'd be happy. I'd love to help people, and I have like a couple of different programs to, but my main jam is Live Love, which is a three-month program, 8-session program where we go through the 8 steps of the Live Love program.
There you go. Well, that's awesome then. So it helps people. What is something that a lot of people don't understand about schizophrenia, whether they're a caregiver or they're just out there in the public?
Well, I think the most important thing that people don't know about is this thing called agnosognosia. It's called anosognosis. And it's a term that is discussed in the book I'm Not Sick and I Don't Need Help by this doctor, this PhD in psychology named Javier Amador, whose brother was schizophrenic. And agnosognosia is a term taken from neurology, and it means it's used for stroke victims who can't comprehend there's something wrong with their brain. So, agnosognosia is like not only, some estimates say that it's a symptom in 60% of people with serious mental illness, but it's actually like the biggest obstacle towards recovery, because if you don't think there's anything wrong with you, you aren't in denial. It's just like you can't comprehend. There's a big difference between being in denial and just being not able to comprehend. But if you're unable to understand there's something wrong, then you aren't going to take your medication, which is essential, in my opinion, just from my own experience. I don't think I'd be as well as I am without my medication. But ultimately, you aren't going to take your medication. You aren't going to be compliant with the doctor. You're going to be rebellious against the doctor. And for the first 10 years of my life, Chris, I was in agnosognosia. But I was sort of like forced, because I was in the program, to submit to therapy. But it was only I had like a vision of the world being imploded in the thermonuclear holocaust. I call that the death of Dale, and that was 10 years into my therapy. But the death of Dale really basically killed my personality in every way except bodily. And that killed my delusion, but also made me realize just how sick I'd been when I realized that there was something wrong with calling myself God all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people think they're God the way they behave.
Well, that's a topic for another story. And I feel that after 50 years, my goal isn't to deny that I'm God, but my goal is to help people who think they're God to integrate that thought system into reality so that they might be able to exist.
There you go, to exist and do things. Let's talk about, let's get some plugs in for your other books. Now, you got how many books again on Amazon?
Well, I have 5 poetry books, and I also have written 6 novels, including my bestseller for the last century called Velvet Velours Follies Book 2, or The Flight of the Dialina, which is my spaceship. And that I call that a apocalyptic romance. And so those are unpublished, but I plan to eventually publish them. So I also have a memoir, which I want to get out on Amazon very soon. I just have to edit and format and everything. And that's called Escape from the Ivy League, or How Becoming God Changed My Life. Oh. And that's the story of my psychotic break at Dartmouth and my first hospitalization.
There you go. How I became, what was the thing again? How I became
Escape from the Ivy League, or How Becoming God Changed My Life.
There you go. That could be like a movie. That'd be kind of an interesting movie, maybe. I don't know.
I think it could be.
Yeah, it might be an interesting movie to check out. How became, maybe I'll title that my next book. See how well that sells. So there you go. Did we cover all the different variations of? We ended this mentioning of. We led off with this entering of the new era of do. your initials, DEW, under D.E. Walsh, your pen name. You want to tell us a little bit about that book?
Actually, so as I just mentioned, the deaths of Dale. So people say, well, what happened after Dale died? And I say, well, basically, I became an alter ego for 33 years. I became actually, this has some background, Chris. I'm a Disney chipmunk, because this is actually my big joke after I'm God, which is, I'm a Disney chipmunk because of Chip and Dale, but did you know I'm also a Disney duck? Well, my initials are Do. My father's initials were Lou. My best friend's name is Hugh, and Hugh's father's name was Donald. So you get Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Donald. So that's the background to the joke. It goes, now you want to hear the joke?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, what do you get when you cross the Disney chipmunks with the Disney ducks?
What?
Me!
There you go. So anything more we need to cover? Go ahead.
In regard to your question about Do, basically, Do is I basically have 5 personalities: Dale, Dewey, Do, Duck, and Genius. And there's a big debate in psychiatry about whether multiple personalities actually exist. But so I'm in the 3rd stage of my life. Dale lasted 30 years, Dewey lasted 33 years, and entering the new era of Do actually is the poetry that kicked off my entrance into my 3rd phase of life of Do in 2018.
There you go. And so now you're in the Do phase of your life.
I am. And I figure that's going to last about 30 years still.
Oh, well, there you go. That's good to have. So as we go out, give us your final pitch out for people to reach out to you, on board with you, do a call with you, what you can help them with, and any .coms.
Okay, well, my website is www.dewlivelove.net, dewlivelove.net. That's my website, and you can sort of see what I do about mentoring family caregivers. And then there's my Calendly link, which is where you can make a free 45-minute call to me. That's www.calendly.com/DaleCoach55. And then if you go to Amazon and put in under books, search for books, you usually have to scroll some because I'm not a big bestseller. But if you scroll some and find books, poetry collections by D.E. Walsh, I'll have 5 books there.
There you go. And so people can check out all the stuff there. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Chris. It's been a great honor, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, as us too. As always, folks, check out his books. The one book I think we profiled or we let off was the one on Amazon there. Thanks to my audience for tuning in. Go ahead.
They're all on Amazon.
They're all on Amazon. So, there you go.
And the one I mentioned, the poem I recited, that's a book called Fossil Fuel for the Brain.
Fossil Fuel for the Brain. There you go. Thanks, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.